Review InfinityCopy, write texts with AI. Have you ever thought about creating a text in a few clicks and seconds? We will be doing a review of InfinityCopy, a platform that writes texts with AI. Thanks to the advancement of technology, every day that passes new solutions emerge that make our daily lives more practical and offer many other advantages. In fact, artificial intelligence has been a great highlight when it comes to technological solutions for marketing. You may not have heard about it yet, but AI writing tools began to appear some time ago. In the beginning, the features of these platforms were limited, focusing on creating titles, post captions, and product descriptions for e-commerce. However, the technology has evolved. Now, there are some tools that allow the user to write larger texts, such as entire articles for blogs, newsletters, and even ebooks. InfinityCopy is one of them. It is worth saying that the forecast is that artificial intelligence will develop much more in the coming years. Therefore, soon technological solutions, such as tools for creating texts, can offer many other benefits. Although we have already talked briefly about what InfinityCopy is, let's understand better what this tool is about. InfinityCopy is an online software that generates texts using artificial intelligence. It can develop different types of marketing content, adapting them according to the goal chosen by the user, which can be sales, engagement, or institutional. In addition, it is possible to define the tone of voice that should be applied to the text, such as informal, formal, creative, professional, among others. Although there are other tools that also do this, it has a great differential: it has an artificial intelligence trained in Brazilian Portuguese. It is worth remembering that all content produced by Infinity's AI is 100% original and optimized for SEO. But then, do you mean that the tool does everything by itself and dispenses the writers? Absolutely not. It is important to make it clear that AI does not replace the writer, who can be the SEO or marketing professional. What happens is that the tool supports your content creation work. Of course, sometimes InfinityCopy may offer the perfect copy. However, other times not. You will need to perfect the text so that it looks the way you want. The InfinityCopy tool meets different needs when it comes to content creation. With this, it makes the daily life of the SEO or marketing professional much more practical and productive. With the tool you can create posts for social networks. Can you imagine having texts for social networks in a few seconds? With InfinityCopy it is possible to do this. Sometimes, marketers need to take care of the social networks of more than one company, or different products. With the tool, you can create amazing texts for Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and other social networks very quickly. Those who need to create texts for ads know how hard it is to do this. After all, it is often necessary to create content for a large amount of ads, in addition to needing to optimize them. With the text creator you will have a universe of alternatives at your disposal to use in your Google Ads campaigns, for example. Blog posts. Having a blog is a very important strategy for companies that want to see their site achieving a good positioning in search engine and search results such as Google. However, it is not enough to just create a blog. It is necessary to publish content with a certain frequency. In addition, blog posts need to be relevant to readers. InfinityCopy offers the power of artificial intelligence to create amazing content for blogs, very quickly. Texts for sales. The texts for sales need to be persuasive and need to achieve the pain that the consumer has in order for his attention to be attracted. Creating this type of text can be a lot of work and challenging, but you can have the help you need with the text creator. Enhance your sales discourses with the creation of texts based on effects hierarchy models, such as AIDA, attention, interest, desire and action. PS, problem, agitation and solution. Value proposition. Landing pages. If you want to create landing pages that generate conversions, you need to focus on creating content that converts. Imagine having all the work to develop a landing page and users who come to it simply don't convert. Frustrating, isn't it? Often, what is missing for conversions to happen is just making adjustments to the text. Remember that we are daily hit by a huge amount of content, especially on the internet. Therefore, your text should stand out and be as best as possible when it comes to generating conversion. With InfinityCopy you will be able to create ideal texts for your landing pages and still gain agility in the production of A/B tests. Product description. Have you created or need to create an e-commerce? Well, if your sales site needs to advertise many products or services, you will need to take a long time to create the descriptive ones of each of them. Product or service descriptions need not only to give details about them but also need to delight consumers. By having an AI tool to create content, you can create creative content for your e-commerce pages in a very practical way. Infinity recently launched a new tool on its platform that allows writers and other professionals to write an entire article in a few minutes. In the case of this specific tool, the differential is that you fill in the premises of what you want to be written, and the AI writes the entire text. You just need to do a quick review, and you will have a very well written and optimized text at hand. Watch the following video to learn a little more about the new tool entitled Writer from InfinityCopy. Who is the target audience of the tool? Basically, if you need to create sales and marketing texts, you can count on InfinityCopy. However, to make it clearer, here is a list of companies and professionals that the tool can help. Content teams, marketing analysts, advertising agencies, virtual stores and dropshippers, entrepreneurs, advertising writers, SEO writers, traffic managers, info producers, content producers. How to use InfinityCopy. If you are a copywriter, you must have already gone through the following situation: sit in front of the computer and have a creative block. Know that it is not only with you that it happened or that this can happen. Writing texts for sales and marketing is something that requires a lot from your mind. After all, you need to create content that, in addition to being very well written, also needs to be persuasive. In addition, you often need to create content for social networks, blog, website, email, and so on. This large amount of texts can make you simply have blocks to produce them. Another important issue is that content for sales and marketing often has short delivery times. This is another factor that contributes to the emergence of the dreaded creative block. However, with the tools for creating texts, you no longer need to be afraid of this situation. Of course, you are still the content creator, but you can have a great help from artificial intelligence. But, after all, how to use InfinityCopy? Check out the following step by step. Make your free registration in the tool. Choose a text template, one that best matches the content you want to write. Describe the context of the content. Specify in the tool a little about the subject, products, and so on. Generate the text. The AI will produce the content in a few seconds. By observing the step-by-step mentioned above, you can see how the use of the tool is very simple and fast, being an incredible solution for the daily life of the writers. Latest considerations. The production of content for the internet is more important than ever. Companies and marketing managers want to see their website and blog pages occupying the top of search results, from Google, for example. They also want their landing pages to generate conversions. That the description of the products or services win customers. That social media posts are relevant and bring the target audience closer. And all this focuses on the production of good content. However, producing quality content is something that takes a lot of time. For example, the creation of an article with about 1,500 words may require from 4 hours to 8 hours for the writer. In addition, as already mentioned, there is the creative block factor. With so many demands to be delivered in a short term, it is common for writers just not to know where to start work. With these issues in mind, an automatic text generator is an excellent solution for copywriters. However, once again, it is important to emphasize that InfinityCopy does not replace people. What it does is unite human skills with technology. If you want to make the production of your content more agile to dedicate to other tasks, or have more time available to accept new customers and, consequently, increase your revenue as a writer, it is worth testing InfinityCopy. Just enter the basic information that is requested in the text generator and click on Generate Content. In a few seconds the AI will create some suggestions for texts according to what you reported. We hope you enjoyed the review. If you decide to test InfinityCopy, click here to access the site, that this amazing text generator can help you solve content production needs in your daily life.